Bretton Woods 3.0. Are we witnessing the official beginning stages of Bretton Woods 3? In my opinion, yes, we are. We also have a lot to go over in this video, so definitely sit back and relax. And with that being said, welcome to the channel, everyone. My name is Nick. For those that are new to the channel, hopefully by the end of this video, you do become a subscriber. Now let's dive on in. Let's go back to September of 2023. That's right, September of 2023. Almost a year ago now. Pretty wild to say the least on how fast time is going by, but regardless, I did say, did anyone notice what the United Nations said 3 days ago? They are calling for a new Bretton Woods moment that will bring about a global systemic change. The window of opportunity is now. If you have been following the XRP side of things, the community has been calling for a new Bretton Woods for years. I think pressure is building. We might still be years away, but things are getting very interesting. Now is the time. I'd be heavily researching utility projects within this space too, because I personally think that they will be crucial in this new world. Now, if we actually look at this, we have UN, the United Nations, sets out bold solutions to rescue SDG finance. And over here, we have there is a window of opportunity if we act now. This is actually from the UN. And this is under financial divide. We have developing countries face borrowing cost up to 8 times higher than developed countries, a debt trap. So they're literally telling you like, hey, guess what? There is a debt trap going on. And 1 in 3 countries around the world is now at high risk of a fiscal crisis. Wow. The United Nations is literally opening the pages to the book that everyone around the world have been trying to keep shut, specifically the governments. They don't want to tell us that, hey, guess what? We are on the brink of a crisis. They don't want to tell us that. They want to tell us that everything is all good. Keep lying to us. Over 40% of people living in extreme poverty are in countries with severe debt challenges. Now, also over here, we have solutions must be systemic. It is clear that the systemic problems of financing for sustainable development require a systemic solution, reforms of the global financial architecture. And then we also have, he is calling for a new Bretton Woods moment when countries can come together to agree on new global financial architecture that reflects today's economic realities and power relations. Together, we must turn this moment of crisis into a moment of opportunity, find joint financing solutions to rebuild global solidarity, and create new momentum for sustainable development and climate action. You know what's crazy about this? Is actually think about this real quick in perspective. So this is the United Nations telling us, hey, guess what? We need this new Bretton Woods moment. And this is essentially when countries will come together to agree on this new global financial architecture that reflects today's economic realities and power relations. At the time where the BRICS are expanding rapidly, there's over like 100 plus nations involved around BRICS now. They're not joining BRICS, but they're involved in the discussions around BRICS. And at this current moment in time, we know that the BRICS have been pushing for, new financial architecture. They're trying to create new financial systems and things like that. And it's so funny that this is happening at a time where if we go back almost a year ago, the United Nations was giving us a blueprint on this new, solution, if you will. And again, I always say problem, reaction, solution. We already have the big problem out there. We're already trying to get those reactions, and it seems as though a lot of people are reacting to it already, and they already have the solution. I strongly believe that they already have the solution. Now, also, over here from Jim Rickards, we have noticed what the BRICS are doing. They copied the World Bank and the IMF. They are duplicating the Bretton Woods structure. They're also building undersea fiber optics telecom channels so they can bypass channels like SWIFT and others that are controlled by the West. Check this out.
Again, notice what the BRICS are doing. They've copied the World Bank. They've copied the IMF. They're duplicating the Bretton Woods structure on their own. A lot of this goes almost unnoticed, but these are very important initiatives. They're also building a fiber optic undersea telecommunications channel so they can bypass channels like SWIFT and other payments channels controlled by the West. So they're building their whole network financially, structurally, and in terms of physical infrastructure. And this has been going on for a long time. It's not as if the BRICS are making some headlines lately. but it's not as if they just woke up last year and said, oh, let's do something significant in the monetary system. They've been working on this for over 15 years. By the way, we focus on the BRICS Leaders Summit, and that's important. They have over 100 meetings per year. They have subgroups on agriculture, climate change, women's rights, athletics, et cetera. So this is a very well-developed organization with as I say, an expert secretariat that continues to grow.
And I love the fact that he said the quiet part out loud, right? Where he said that the BRICS didn't just wake up last week and said, all right, hey, let's do something big. Let's try to do this. Let's try to do that. No. He said 15 years ago. Go back to 2008. What happened 2 years later in 2010? Russia became a massive buyer of gold. Why is gold important here? Well, let's go over here. So this is the Independent Evaluation Office of the IMF, the International Monetary Fund. The birth of Bretton Woods 3, a commodity currency revolution. Now, I have outlined this flyer multiple times on this channel. It is not something new, but for those that are new to the channel, maybe those that are even new to this document, we are going to talk about this for a second. Real quick, if we look at this, this is from April of 2022. This is 1 month after sanctions got announced. And we also started to see Russia pushing heavy back against the US dollar and the US dollar system, SWIFT, because it is a dominated system by the US. We have here that a mere 5 decades ago, the dollar took over the role for itself as the global reserve asset from gold. Since then, the global economy has been increasingly financialized with the advent of first regulated derivatives, then hedge funds, and .coms, followed by an explosion in over-the-counter unregulated derivatives and securitizations, ending in Lehman's failure. All that seems to be coming to an end with a new commoditization hastened by the commodity crisis from current geopolitical events, what renowned flows analyst Zoltan Pazar at Credit Suisse calls Bretton Woods 3. He argues that we are witnessing the birth of Bretton Woods 3, a new world monetary order centered around commodity-based currencies in the East that will likely weaken the euro-dollar system and also contribute to inflationary forces in the West. How will Bretton Woods 3 play out? And they do just have a few questions here. But for the most part, listen, this might sound like a conspiracy, but what's crazy about all of this is we are now witnessing this in real time. Zimbabwe recently announced their gold-backed ZIG. It's the world's newest currency. This happened back in May, okay? Now, at that time, 20% was the overall transactional used value of it. Now, this has rose to 40%. Zimbabweans use gold-backed ZIG to pay for 40% of transactions. Guys, this is crazy. And the government is actually utilizing it for 80% of trade. So as we really look at the gold-backed currency revolution that everyone is trying to say, oh, it's whatever, nobody cares about it. The US media won't report on it. Guess what? It's becoming a reality. Now, yes, is Zimbabwe going to, be a driver of everything around us? No, they're not. In fact, it's not like a big deal, but what is a big deal is BRICS, specifically the gold-backed currency that the BRICS were pushing back in the summer of 2023, so over a year ago. Now, is this still on the table? 100%. In fact, I do believe that with the recent push from the BRICS to create a payment system based on digital currencies and blockchain, which did get reported on back in March, I do believe that this is on par with their gold-backed currency move. Why is it? Well, because once you have something like a digital currency and blockchain-based financial system, you now have tokenized gold. Now, why is that important? Well, now, guess what? Gold can move around the world very quick, very fast. You don't have to transport it, which is a terrible thing anyways. I mean, it's the number one thing that people look at gold and they're like, why would I want to carry around these gold, bricks? Because they're extremely heavy. Moving it around just sucks. But regardless of that, also tokenizing gold, you can now fractionalize gold as well. This is very important to know. As we look at a digital-based financial system, tokenization of gold will be a reality, but also gold itself will play a very crucial role in being an anchor for currencies, meaning it will essentially back these currencies. I've talked about this when it comes to central banks, right? Central banks are pushing for CBDCs. What else are they doing? They're buying up gold heavily. In fact, it's breaking records. That's how much they're buying of gold. Why would they be doing this if they didn't have plans to anchor CBDCs by gold? Everyone needs to open their eyes to what's really going on here. And that's why when we look at Bretton Woods 3 as a commodity revolution, it is 100%, from my point of view, something that could be happening. Especially at a time where central banks are pushing and pushing and pushing for CBDCs, at the same time, though, accumulating gold. Over here, on August 26th, Russia plans stablecoins, 2 crypto exchanges to circumvent sanctions. Guess why this is important? Well, it's not just the fact that the BRICS are heavily outpacing the G7 countries in terms of GDP, but it's also the fact that if they are looking at a gold-backed currency, would it be crazy to think that they're going to back a stablecoin by gold? I do think that this is a focus, and Kim.com actually put out a great post regarding this. We have, when the BRICS gold-backed stablecoin comes out trading in USD, comes out trading, the US dollar will drop hard. Central banks will exit USD, and the US money printing Ponzi scheme will burn. 14% of global GDP will shift from the US to other nations by 2030, the most rapid economic collapse of any empire in history. Now, is this a little bit exaggerated? Is this some, speculation? Sure, it is. But technically speaking, if we go back to the GDP chart over here, they are quickly outpacing the G7, and the BRICS are expanding rapidly. And even more recently, we had this. China has become Saudi Arabia's largest oil customer, accounting for more than 20% of the kingdom's oil exports. Now, why is this important? Well, because more recently, Putin said that if oil producers in the Middle East stop using the US dollar, it will be the end of the dollar. Now, again, is this going to predict the fact that they are going to stop using the dollar? Not exactly, but this is the one string really kind of holding things together for the US. We've talked about the petrodollar deal. We've talked about the petrodollar itself for so long. It's essentially the only thing that the US has tied to its value. Now, I know that a lot of people said, well, what about the military? Because they utilize the military to protect the dollar. And yes, they technically have. The big problem with that is our military budget has dropped significantly. And also maintenance on warships and things like that have pretty much gone out the window. I mean, there has not been significant maintenance done. There hasn't been a lot of upgrades happening. And for the most part, our budget has been dropping. And this is all leading to a weakened military, which means even that, which if we're going to look at the military as backing the dollar, that has also been losing some steam. So as we think about what's going on here, there is a lot of issues rising around the US financial system and even the integrity of it as well. Now, if we go back over here to this birth of this Bretton Woods 3, currency revolution, if we actually look back into this, they did say something very, very interesting, which was weakening the euro dollar system. Now, if we look into what's happening right now in and around the BRICS, what about this big announcement? Chinese yuan beats euro to become the second most used currency. Now, again, they did not rewrite this at all. This was from April of 2022. So let's think about this logically. All right, we have gold-backed currencies now becoming a reality. Number one. Number two, the BRICS continue to outpace the G7 in terms of GDP growth, and they continue to expand rapidly. And now we also have the euro dollar system losing steam as well against the Chinese yuan. Why is this important? Well, because as we do continue to look at the strikes here, all right, the US and even the euro itself are losing steam against the BRICS. For the longest time, we have heard that the BRICS are not a big problem. They're not a big concern. Mainstream media fails to even, talk about the BRICS. But it's at a time where everyone should be heavily focused on the BRICS. Why? Because we are witnessing the death by 1,000 cuts for the US dollar. But what is this all leading to? Well, it's leading to a complete realignment of our global monetary system. And yes, I do believe that this is the beginning of the rollout for the Bretton Woods 3 commodity currency revolution. But what they don't mention within this report is central bank digital currencies, which will be backed by gold, issued out on DLTs, bridged by a completely decentralized bridge currency. And this is becoming a reality. This has been something that we've been focused on for so long. And from all the documents that we have read, it's the most probable blueprint to this new financial system. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on because more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord down in the description below. And with it being said, guys, it's been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.